Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Beach FM, great to welcome back the Mayor of the Horowhenua, Bernie Wanden. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, John, and to all your listeners.
It's getting, well, it feels as if we're getting something close to whatever is normal in 2020. Do you feel as if we're slowly beginning to find our feet again?
Yeah, look, it's hard to believe that this is the normal, to be honest. I think we're still struggling with having to adapt. It's hard to think that, March we went into lockdown and here we are in September. And things have only changed a little bit, and it's not going to be long before we're looking at Christmas. It's a year that has certainly not been the norm.
Nothing like the norm. And in fact, you've just had the COVID testing. I think it was at New World, wasn't it, that you had the mobile unit?
Across the road from New World and behind there. Yes, and I did the mayoral duty and went and had a swab myself, which was, despite the weather, which wasn't too flash on Tuesday, with the rain that we had in town, there was still a good number of people that turned up, which was great. And I must commend the person that did my swab. They were very gentle on me and did a great job.
Excellent. You survived it unscathed.
I survived it unscathed. I'd heard various reports about how good or bad it was, but I'm pleased to say that mine was a reasonably not uncomfortable experience.
Well, excellent. Let's move on to Three Waters. I believe you've got the enviable task of working out what to do with a tad over $4 million you've received from the government.
Yeah, so as part of the COVID recovery infrastructure sort of strategy that the government have, they've put $761 million into infrastructure right around the country to develop water or wastewater, either OPEX or capital expenditure that we can use at the moment. So there is some reforms coming, and this is born out of Havelock North 2016, around Three Waters, and we're going to see the possibility of local government not actually looking after their own free waters, that it may well be looked after by some sort of outside agency like, that exists in, say, Auckland or Wellington with Water Care and that. So there could be smaller, bigger, a lot of us merging our assets into one big organisation. But in the meantime, so we have to sign an agreement where at the moment we will look at the future in good faith. So the first tranche of that is that they are granting us some money, and for us it's $4.34 million. So we have to come up with some projects as to how we can use that money, and it has to be for things that are not in our annual plan this year. So it is extra. It will hopefully create jobs, but also being able for us to bring some projects forward that we may not have been doing or seeing to be done in the next 2 or 3 years. So we're going to sit down this week and plan that out. We have to decide this by the end of September and tell the government where we're going to spend that money. So, yeah, look, in some ways it's pretty exciting, but also daunting, because there's a huge number of things that we could do.
I was fascinated to talk to Guru, and we're talking about the next stage, the possible forced marriage of facilities. And I was pointing out that Kapiti has got a rather uncomfortable relationship with the rest of the Wellington region in terms of water. And he said quite slyly, well, of course, we don't have to look south. We could look north as well. And that opened up a whole range of possibilities. Can you see the possibility of cooperation between the Horowhenua and Kapiti?
Oh, without a doubt. I think that the obvious way for both of us actually is to look to the obvious assets that we have close by, and the joining, take those lines away on the map, and we're really one area. And I see no reason why we shouldn't explore the opportunities that we could work together in a number of things like that. And water is an obvious one. We're going to have both Kapiti and us having growth challenges, so we need to explore anything that we can do to make sure that we can provide, the water and the stormwater systems and the wastewater systems for our populations.
The end result of this, logically, is that there'll be less work to do in individual councils. And I wonder if there's any possibility that there's a wider agenda here that central government is telling local government, hey, you guys, you've got to get together, and we'll end up with fewer local government units.
That's right. I think that is probably the outcome that they're looking for. Unfortunately, central government don't hold local government in high regard. There have been issues over the time, and we even helped ourselves by some of the behaviours that have gone on. But the reality is that for a number of years, local government has not invested in the infrastructure that it should have, either because it, constrained by not wanting to put rates up or borrow money and things like that. The reality is now that we need a huge investment to look after that infrastructure for the next 50 years. And maybe the only way that we can get around that is by having an agency that does look after that sort of thing specifically. And it may well lead to other parts of our business that we don't operate as well, which, and the obvious is roading.
Yes.
And there are other things. So that, that's right. This could see the changing of the way that local government, operates completely in the next 5 to 10 years for sure.
Gosh, we live in interesting times, don't we? And it's great to be here. Great that you can join us every now and again to give us your perspective. It's valued here on Beach FM. Bernie Wanden, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Pleasure.
106.3 Beach FM.